Okay, here we are with page 8. Again, you may need your multiplication chart and number line to complete the page. Now, the top part of this page, if you notice, it says 9 and 10. So this is a continuation of the section from page 7, where we simplify before we multiply. The difference with numbers 9 and 10 is that now these are division problems. Okay, they're quotients. So what do I need to do for my quotient before anything else? I boxed my terms, I wrote my Q for quotient, right? We switch. So my 2 over 5 stays the same. And then my division sign, I change to what? A multiplication sign. So I write my parentheses. And I am switching, so 10 is on top and 3 is on the bottom. Now that I have done that, I need to see 2, 5, and 3 again are prime numbers. But what about 10? Does 10 go into 3? No, not evenly. But 10 and 5 do share common factors. Okay, so 1 times 5 is 5, and 5 times what is 10? If I go to 5, 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Cross off my 10. I can also eliminate the 5s. Now I will rewrite this, and I have 2 over 1 times 2 over 3. Now I can multiply across. 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3. So now I'd like for you to pause this video and try number 10 on your own. Then we can check our answers. Remember, if something is incorrect, I do not want you to erase it, okay? I want to see the incorrect marks you made so I can know how your brain was thinking when you were solving the problem, and then I want to see the corrected version so I know that you finished watching the video, okay, to help us build understanding. So if I box my terms, again, it's a division sign. Mark it with a Q. This is where you really need to pause the video and try it on your own if you have not already. Number 9 is available as an example. Okay, so I am switching 5 and 16. I rewrite 8, 3 over 8. The division sign becomes times, because I'm turning it into a multiplication problem to help it be easier to solve. Over 5. Okay, 3 does not go into 5. They are both prime numbers. They are as small as they can get. But 8 does go into 16. So I'm going to put my 1 so I don't forget about it. And 8 times what is 16? 2. Cross that off, right? 8 times 2. Now I can cross off my 8s. They canceled out. I will rewrite this. Okay. You're not required to rewrite this, but it is helpful for some students, so I'd like to do this for them. Now I can multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 5 is 5. And those problems are done. If you notice that 4 over 3 and 6 over 5 are both improper fractions, feel free to convert them to mixed numbers. That is good practice, but not a requirement. Okay, here's the next section. Part 3. I can simplify various expressions containing fractions, mixed numbers, and integers. Okay, so there's a lot going on. And it gives us some reminders. So if it's a sum or difference, both fractions must have a common denominator, correct? They need to match. They need to be the same. Product. Simplify before you multiply. If you can't simplify, then just multiply. Okay, so I need to see if I can make the fraction smaller, and then if I cannot, I multiply across. Quotient. Change the division to multiplying the reciprocal. That's when we switch it. Okay, I call it multiplying the reciprocal, and we turn it into a times problem. I'm dealing with a lot of different kind of problems here. Right, so I want to box my terms, make sure that I am understanding that 2 2/5 plus 3 over 10, that 2 2/5 is a mixed number. It's not 2 times 2 over 5. That can be confusing. So it is important to box our terms. It's a plus. Plus means sum. I'm going to write a sum in the upper right-hand corner to remind me that it is a sum. Okay, so I'm going to add these, but there's a mixed number and a fraction, and the denominators don't match. So I need to do some different things. The first thing I want to do is convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. Okay? We multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then we add that answer to the numerator. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. So I'll write that over here. 2 times 5 is 10. And I'm adding how many? 2. And I'm going to add 2. So I'm looking over here, 10 plus 2, 1, 2 is 12. So bringing that back, 12 is my new numerator, and the denominator stays the same. Are you right? Got 3 over 10. So I still need to make them match. And we just said 5 times 2 is 10. So there is a helpful hint. I will change color. See if we can see that. Times it by 2, times it by 2. Change it back. 2 times 12. Check on my chart. It's 24. So I now have 24, and the 2 times 5 was 10, plus 3 over 10. So now I have 24 plus 3. The number line does not go all the way over there. So if you need help with that, you can stack them up. 24 plus 3 this way. So 4 plus 3. Now that's something I can use my number line for. 4, 1, 2, 3. 4 plus 3 is 7. Bring down the 2. Okay, so 24 plus 3 is 27. And we do not add the denominators together. They stay the same. So my final answer is 27 over 10. You can convert that to a mixed number, but again, it is not required. Next problem, I want to box my terms. Adding a mixed number with a fraction. Well, not adding. Subtracting a mixed number from an proper fraction. Proper fraction is when the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Put a D over here because it's a difference. Again, timesing and then adding. So 8 times 1 Then we add 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. The new numerator is 11 over 8 minus 5 over 16. So I'm looking at these different numbers, and the first thing I want to know is, can 8 go into 16? If so, what is that number? 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. So I'm going to write times 2 times 2. It's the color of the A's, you know, sad the A's are not playing this year. So I'm remembering them by using green and gold. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times 8 is 16. Minus 5 over 16. So the number chart doesn't go to 22, but I can add a couple extra numbers on there, can't I? So let's see. It's on draw. So I'm going to put 21 and 22. And it was, oops, let me, there. And it was 22 minus 5. Okay, back. So I got 22 minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my answer is 17. Let me erase. All right, 22 minus 5 is 17 over 16. Almost there. We only have 2 more to go for this page. Doing the same thing. Okay, I'd like for you to pause the video and then try to answer 3 over 8 divided by 1 over 16 on your own. And then check our answers. See how we're doing. So it's a division problem. Switching the numbers. If I need to box my terms, I absolutely want you to do that. So I have 3 over 8. I'm changing the division sign to a times. Switching, so 16 is now the numerator and 1 is the denominator. Okay. Before I multiply across, I want to see if I can cross reduce. Can I make these smaller? And 8 goes into 16 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. Just double check that on your multiplication chart. So I'm going to cross this off. 8 times 2. Put my 1 over here so I still have that visual. Cross off the 8s. They cancel out. Let me rewrite this. 3 over 1 times 2 over 1. Now that I've cleaned it up, I can see 3 times 2 is 6. And 1 times 1 is 1. I do not need the 1 anymore. I have a whole number of 6. Last problem. So if I'm boxing my terms, this gets 1 box. So we have 2 steps going on here. The problem is still a quotient, okay? Because when I box my terms, there is a product in the first term. Okay, this is not 16 and 3/8. Okay, this is 16 times 3 over 8. So if I need a reminder, just put a Q. I know I'm dealing with a division problem. Okay, when we follow order of operations on how do I solve that, it's multiplication and division, but it goes from left to right. So I start with 16 times 3 over 8. And I'm going to do that one first. Okay, and this is a whole number, so if we want to put lines and ones over here, we can do that. We may decide to take them away later. Okay, so before I switch them, before I rewrite this and put 1 over 2, I want to see, because in the last problem, we got 6, a whole number by itself. And if we end up with whole numbers, those are easier to deal with than fractions. So I'm looking at this, and we said 8 times 2 is 16. So it's still 16, it hasn't changed. So I got 8 times 2. And we can do times 1. Those 8's cross off, they canceled out. Now I have 2 over 1 times 3 over 1. And then rewrite everything. When we bring down the problem, we bring down the whole problem. Divided by 2 over 1. So since everything has 1's on the bottom, do I really need them anymore? And the answer is no, I do not need them. Okay, so we can still multiply across. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1, but I don't need that anymore, so I'm not going to write it. Right? I'm going to bring my divided by sign. And 2 over 1, but I don't need that 1. I'm dealing with whole numbers. Okay? No longer need that visual. So I'm left with 6 divided by 2. And if 2 times 3 is 6, then 6 divided by 2 is 3. Which is my final answer. And we have come to the end of page 8.